Love lives here.
All right, good morning, everybody, again. Okay, so we're going to talk about a few things today, but I want to tell you what the theme is for this quarter. Reverend Jeff and I get together and we put themes on the, for the quarters of the year. And so this theme for the quarter is finding our footing. So everything that comes forth from us this quarter is going to be about finding our footing. So it's going to be about identity and resilience and embodiment, belonging, and confidence in action. Confidence in action. So we are focusing on our wholeness. We are focusing on our authentic selfhood and the mental equivalent and the spiritual truth. So last Sunday, Reverend Jeffrey, let's see what's on the screen. All right, see that girl? And then she got this shadow behind her. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So last Sunday, Reverend Jeff shared a powerful message entitled Integrity is Our Ground. And he reminded us that integrity is not simply about being honest, that integrity itself is about living from the true self, the God that God created you to be, me to be. And so he offers 4 powerful spiritual truths, and I'm going to read those to you. One is when we align within, life begins to align without. That integrity deepens our confidence during times of change. And our wholeness has never, ever been lost. And then standing in truth gives us a firm foundation and steadiness so we can walk this journey. So it steadies our steps. So that message pours into our conversation today. But he talked about integrity and, he said it was about being whole, complete, and undivided. That wholeness is the nature of God. And if it's the nature of a God, it's the nature of all of us. And because God is expressing as each one of us, wholeness is also, again, our true nature. We are expressions of the one life, already whole, already complete, already connected to the divine, yet somewhere over the rainbow, along the journey, many of us learn to separate from parts of ourselves to be more accepted. We hide our fears. We bury our disappointments. We minimize our gifts, and we silence our voices. And sometimes we even reject our own shadow, that part of us. He talked about the shadow side of us and integrating it with everything and all that we are last week. Because we cannot experience true integrity while abandoning parts of ourselves. And wholeness means embracing all of who we are, the light and the shadow, and our strengths and our growing edges. Sometimes we have some growing edges, but we have to be all of who we are and who all we were created to be. But sometimes my brain thinks in movies. And so when I was looking at the talk and it was about the shadow, immediately Peter Pan popped in my head. And in the story, Peter Pan was trying to find and reconnect with his shadow. And it's a children's story, but it carries some profound truths that until we reclaim the part of ourselves that we have rejected, we will never be fully experiencing the fullness of who we are. So that shadow part of us is important. All parts of us are important. So today we're going to take the next step. So if integrity is our ground, then authenticity is our path. If integrity reminds us that we are already whole, then authenticity invites us to live from that wholeness. So today's invitation is simple but courageous. You have to be courageous to accept the challenge to stop pretending. And stop is an action. And the word meant in the 14th century to plug, to block, or to close an opening. But over time, that meaning began to change and bring other things into it. It comes to mean bringing something to a halt or interrupting what has been happening. It's an interruption. So spiritually, stopping is not always about ending something. Stopping is about interrupting a pattern that has been interrupting our lives. You ever feel like you're on a hamster wheel? You just keep repeating. You're like, how do I get off this hamster wheel? So our invitation is to stop hiding. Sometimes, and stop performing. Sometimes we stop believing. It wants us to stop believing that of the stories that told us that we had to become someone else in order to be loved. We had to become someone else in order to be loved. And then the word pretending is the condition. And it comes from the Latin word, and you guys don't care about that. Maybe my librarian in the room cares about that, but pretend means to stretch forth or to put something in front of. So spiritually, pretending is placing something in front of who we truly are, or placing something in between who we really are. That could be a role, a title, a reputation, a smile, a mask. We stretch an image in front of ourselves and hope no one sees what lies behind it. So when I say stop pretending, I'm saying stop placing an image between yourself and your authentic self. Stop blocking the flow of the divine by hiding behind false identities. Stop standing behind who you think you should be and begin living as who God created you to be. So Ernest Holmes teaches that God is not separate from us. The divine life is expressing through us now, right now, right now. So we are not here to manufacture a new self. You know, when people on the New Year's, people say, New Year, new me, like a new self. But we're not here to manufacture a new self. We're here to rediscover the real self. We're not here to manufacture a new self. We're here to uncover the real self. And pretending stretches the false self in front of the real self. So stopping is the courageous decision to remove the curtain. There's a word again, curtain. Pulling back the curtain. Now you know what I thought of when I thought of pulling back the curtain. Think about the moment in The Wizard of Oz when Toto pulled back the curtain. And Dorothy and her friends discovered that the powerful, frightening wizard was not what he appeared to be. The booming voice, the smoke, and the dramatic effects were created. It created an illusion. His power depended on one thing, that no one looked behind the curtain. And so isn't that what pretending does? It creates an image. I've got it all together. I don't need help. I'm always strong, and I'm fine. But behind the curtain may be fear. Behind the curtain may be uncertainty. Behind the curtain may be a longing to simply be seen and loved for who you are, the real self, simply to be seen and loved. So Science of Mind teaches that the false self has no true power. It is created from fear, conditioning, and mistaken beliefs. When we pull back the curtain, we do not discover someone broken. We discover someone whole, someone perfect, someone complete. So the work, again, is not creating a better version of ourselves. The work is to release the illusion that hides the divine expression that we already are. It's already with us, that divine expression. So I have to bring this up because I saw it on the social media, the news. It wasn't on the news, but it came up in my feed, on my feed. So several days ago, I saw a photograph that it completely stopped me. So it was taken on the 4th of July in Washington. And oh, go ahead and, thank you. That's the picture. And there's many versions of it. That's just a small version of it. But this black woman is seated quietly on the metro train, surrounded by men whose faces were covered with white masks. And the image was widely shared. And so that's a striking contrast. She's sitting there, and then she's surrounded by all these men wearing masks. And so, you know, I'm looking at that, and I'm thinking, how must she be feeling right now? You know, was she afraid? I imagine she was. And so, was she wondering, who are these people behind these masks? And then another question popped up. Why do we hide? Because the mask changes the relationship. The mask conceals identity. And the mask removes accountability. And it creates distance. And it leaves others uncertain. So what do we know historically? We know historically that many black Americans have recognized this painful symbol, mass groups that terrified people, like the KK, Ku Klux Klan, let's say the name, whose members used disguises and anonymity as part of their intimidation. You can go back to the other slide now, Will. But the spiritual question before us is larger. What happens whenever we hide our true selves? What happens when we hide our true selves? What happens if we continue to wear our mask? And I'm not talking about a cloth mask, the emotional mask, or the professional mask, or even the religious mask. The I'm fine mask, the I can handle everything mask, the don't let anyone see me struggle mask, that mask. The mask that hides our fears, our shame, that hides our longing to be loved. The issue is not simply the mask, the issue is what the mask prevents us from experiencing. But the mask does not separate us from God. Nothing can do that. But it can separate us from the awareness of our own divine nature. So the greatest prison is not made of steel. It's made of the roles we believe we must play. But Spirit never asks us to perform. Spirit only asks us to be present. Spirit only asks us to be authentic. God, our Spirit, does not meet us where we are impressive. God meets us where we are real. So perhaps the deepest question is not who is behind the mask. Perhaps the deeper question is, what mask am I ready to remove? What mask am I ready to remove? Because the face of God longs to express. The face that God is longing for you to express is the face that God created. And so now I invite you to go to your tables, and there's some questions on your tables, and we'll be back. So to sum this up, just remember that authenticity isn't about telling everybody everything. It's about allowing your outer life to become a more honest reflection of your inner truth. And just remember, the goal is not perfection. The goal is wholeness, returning to wholeness. And the goal is not becoming someone new. The goal is remembering who you have always been. And so it is. All right, so now let's see, homework time. If my mouse will move, I can tell you what that is. Okay, so the spiritual practice this week, so before next Sunday, share one honest truth about yourself with someone you deeply trust. Because the goal is not to share with everybody. It's someone that you deeply trust. Share something, honest truth about yourselves. It may be a burden you've carried. It may be a dream that you're afraid to speak aloud. It may be a joy, but you've been hesitant to celebrate whatever this is. Whatever it is, allow yourself to be seen. Because every time we choose authenticity over performance, we loosen the grip of fear and strengthen the experience of love. So this week, stop pretending. Reveal your light. It is beautiful. Allow the divine to express itself more fully through you. All right, so I invite the Leadership Council and the practitioners to just come and flank the sanctuary. And so I invite you to join me in consciousness and knowing the truth that there's only one life, that there's only one love, the one divine that expresses itself in and through every person gathered here today and every person everywhere. The divine presence is operating and expressing through them, through life. And that life is whole, that life is complete. Because we are whole, perfect, and complete. That life has never been broken or dismantled or separated from the source. And so I recognize that this one life is in each of us, behind every title, behind every success, and behind every fear. This beautiful divine presence has always been there. So even behind the mask that we sometimes wear, the divine presence is there, waiting to be revealed in and through you, more fully, more expressive, more loving. And so I bless this day and each and every person here and everybody everywhere. I bless this day, and I bless you in it. And may we begin to reveal the real, the true, the presence of Spirit each and every day, each and every moment of the day, and each and every person that we meet. Because when we do that, we allow ourselves to be seen. We allow ourselves more love. We allow ourselves to be that true, authentic person that God is in us as us. And so I bless this time that we spent together. I call it good and very good. And so it is. So we're going to put our affirmation on the screen, and I'm going to say it once, and then we can say it together. I release the mask and reveal my light. Let's say it together. I release the mask and reveal my light. I can't hear you. I release the mask and reveal my light. All right. So I ask everybody to stand up as we say our final, something wonderful is happening through me right now. Let's say it. Wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called love.
It is this thing called love.
Love is in my mind.
Love is in my mind.
Love is in my body.
It's in my body.
Love is in everything I do.
Love is in everything I do.
I am it.
I am.
I share it.
I share it.
I receive
I
it.
receive it.
And I move love forward because love lives here. Happy Sunday, everyone.